Panthers got a split in Edmonton. Oilers look for the same in South Florida. And a rebound from their worst loss of the postseason. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final from Sunrise. Already a goaltender showdown in the warm-up. And Calvin Pickard almost third man in. Oilers hope that they get Game 4 Stuart Skinner tonight. 6-0 record with a 1.26 goals against average in his all-time Game 4 starts. And Sergei Bobrovsky's made 116 saves so far in the series. Only Tuukka Rask in 2013 with more in the first 3 games of a Stanley Cup Final. Here's Leon Draisaitl. His 8-game point streak ended on Monday night. Also, first road game without a point. And Connor McDavid had 5 assists in the first 2 games, but his 7-game point streak ended. First time the Oilers' dynamic duo has been held off the score sheet together since Game 7 last year. Remember Game 4? It turned the series around last year.
Yeah, you think just 1 year ago, the Oilers facing elimination, their best game, an 8-1 win, and here they get the opportunity to go home.
And maybe an early chance for Connor McDavid. Stopped by Bobrovsky, centered in front, and Nugent Hopkins a whack at it. Quick start. Off the skate, went wide of the net. Back to the line for Bouchard, and he fired that wide. Out of the gate. Oilers with a quick start here. Connor Brown setting up Connor McDavid for an early chance. Then a Panther upended. The play will continue, so that early trend at least hasn't started.
Well, we've had the early goals in all 3, as Ron said, and you're right. That was almost an early penalty that has really been plaguing all 3 games in this final.
Adam Henrique charges in. Oilers on their toes in a hurry here. Darnell Nurse moves up. Play past him, and now out comes Florida to be played to Anton Lundell. Brad Marchand on the left flank. He scored that goal 56 seconds into game number 3. Lundell feeds the point. Mikkola played that through and hits traffic and deflects out of play.
Well, it's always a delay. You know, 2 days off in the same city, waiting to get back at it. You're chomping at the bit. There's the game's first really good chance. McDavid buzzing around the front of the net. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins there, you could see just the tempo that the panel was talking about in warm-up starts on his first shift. And you know it's been a 48 hours of sitting around and brooding and waiting and ready to prepare. And got to trust yourself and your teammates that you can respond from, as we said, Chris, was their worst outing of the playoffs in Game 3.
So now Leon Draisaitl comes out to face off against Sam Bennett. Won by the Panthers. Kachuk back to the line. That was fronted by Kane. Played ahead off the stick of Kapanen and worked back to the Florida line. The playoff goal-scoring leader, Sam Bennett on the right side. There's a shot kicked away by Skinner, and Mikkola fired it right back on goal. Mikkola picked up his own rebound. Watched there by Ekholm. Kachuk centers. Oh, wait. Stop it. Another brilliant save by Skinner off Sam Bennett.
Oh, baby.
What a start. Back in comes Kane trying to cut to the net. One hands it off the side of the cage. Draisaitl looks to center. Bennett chops it away. And now Seth Jones up off Rodriguez, and that deflects into the seats. How do you like it so far?
Oh, yeah, the excitement at both ends. The early chance by the Oilers, and then this line, much like they've had, just generating chances there. Skinner able to get across, kind of lost his balance at the last second. I think it thought he went under. Oh, it did. Went under his arm, so he was desperately trying to pinch it down, and it went off his midsection and out the other side. 2 huge saves for Stuart Skinner to start, and McDavid's line, Chris, right back out there.
There's a puck in front. Skinner again with 2 more stops. Played it back to the Florida line. Stetcher paired with Nurse. An effective tandem in the late stages of the series against Vegas and Dallas is played away by Lundell, the center, and Nurse will fire it right back in.
Another big hit there by Kane. Twice there on Jones. He had 21 to lead this Stanley Cup final coming in. There's 2 quick ones in his third shift of the game.
And over 90 now in the postseason for Evander Kane. Number 90 goes after it. Corey Perry. Puck pulls into the line. Ekholm across. Great pass by Woolman. In, no shot. And now Bobrovsky able to get a piece of that on the short side. Oilers cut close, but now it's A.J. Greer the other way. And Nosek blocked by Woolman. Oilers will turn it back, but Colson trying to flip it through and go after it. Kulikov back there, but Colson trying to line him up. Schmidt overskates it, turns away from Perry. Schmidt across, and now the former Oiler Kulikov off Gadjevich on to Skinner, and Ekholm there, paired tonight to start along with Woolman. There's Woolman, who was fined twice for $5,000 in the last game. One of those for the water squirt that maybe will help pay for the Brian Boucher dry cleaning as he got caught in the wash there. In the craziness of the last game. Here is a Kulak shot going high. And around it goes for Rodriguez and out to center ice. Kulak will play it back in. McDavid tags on the delayed offside. Rodriguez right in front of his net. And Reinhart will chop that away. Kulak charging back and got there ahead of Barkov. Side of the net, he loose. Skinner is going to flip that down as a giveaway near the Oiler net almost got costly.
Some musical and sporting royalty arriving here at Amaranth Bank Arena just a short while ago. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Swift actually with the song called Florida about escaping your problems when in the Sunshine State. We know what Kelce has done as a Super Bowl champion, and coming off Game 3, we know there was bad blood between these two teams, and the Oilers trying to shake it off.
Oh, couple more big stops by Skinner. Thought it was a swift start tonight, Gene. Under 9.5 to go now. Brisk opening period. Greer, stick came up on Greer, and now we will get the first penalty of the night. Last year, Markov got the puck along the boards. Watched by Yanmar. Connor Brown out to the penalty killing role. Markov, he's upended. It'll be 5-on-3. And plays called, and a minute 2 remaining in the Keane penalty as Nurse heads off and the penalty parade begins. So 5-on-3 for the Panthers and a face-off won by Barkov. Kachuk scores! And it didn't take long. 5-on-3, Panthers have the lead.
No sense at all for a need for a setup. Kachuk looks around and he gets a nice little pick there by Barkov. Doesn't allow Nugent Hopkins after losing the draw. Watch, Nugent Hopkins can't get the lane. Now Kachuk knows he's got a screen. I don't think Stuart Skinner ever really saw that till the end. Short side, under the blocker, over the pad for the game's first goal. The over-aggressive penalties again hurting the Edmonton Oilers in the first period of the game, and a 5-on-3 makes it a 1-0 game.
Woolman had the head fling back after that. It's deflected wide of the net. Rodriguez back to the line. Spin across, and that shot tipped wide. Recovered by Florida. Verhaeghe back around the horn it goes. Back to Verhaeghe, and that off the stick wide. Back onto the stick with Carter Verhaeghe. And across, looking for Bennett. Nate Schmidt. Verhaeghe. Bennett. Check. McDavid might be away. And knocked away from him by Schmidt, who saves a short-handed breakaway chance. And Bouchard fires it down the ice with a couple dozen seconds remaining in this second Florida power play. Here's Barkov in with Kachuk on the left side. Along the boards it goes. Played to the line, not out. Jones. Kachuk. Looks for a pass in front, and trying to tuck it in there was Reinhart. Ekblad. Back around past Reinhart. It reaches Kachuk. Into the middle. Barkov. a stick to Stuart Skinner.
Jun.12 was presented the player of the puck after his efforts in Game 3. He arrived for Game 4, and there's a T-shirt that you can buy here at Emirates Bank Arena after what happened in the final period, I would say, Chris. And Greg, that's pretty close. Been there, done there, and he's got the T-shirt to prove it.
Bumped along the boards, played back to Bouchard. Fakes the shot and moves in. Trying to get away from Verhaeghe, hands it off to the captain, and McDavid, hot shot, rebound, and Bobrovsky gets down and on it with Perry and Nugent Hopkins on the porch. Ekholm holds the zone. Mikkola ahead, Ekholm up with it again. We've got another penalty coming up and another high stick. Off the draw. And sent back to the Florida line.
Ekholm, 2 for high sticking.
So a high sticking call against Ekholm, a giveaway here. And Connor Brown will dump it back into Panther ice. Third power play of this opening period, and now the 20th power play of the series. It comes across, good shot, and that one broken up by Kulak.
And Kulak uses it to perfection there.
Henrik wins the draw. That one fired past Ekblad and down. Jones behind his net. 13 points for the Panther Blue Liners so far in this series. There's Matthew Tkachuk bouncing it in. Reinhart will track that down. He had a goal in the last game. Fires it in front. Tkachuk across. And Ekblad couldn't handle it. Back to the line, Jones. Ekblad again, right into the slot, and that blocked in front. Nurse trying to clear, knocked down by Jones. Panthers keep it alive. Seth Jones. That one over the steps to Barkov. Nurse along the board. McDavid tried to play it out. Kept in by Jones. Ekblad fired that. It hit Tkachuk in front. Jones again walking the line. Barkov down low quickly. Reinhart. And he double clutch scores! Matthew Tkachuk double down! Two power play goals for the Panthers and Matthew Tkachuk.
And it's been the same problem for the Oilers penalty kills, just not taking away the passing lanes a little bit too late. And when one guy's late, then the next is not there either. And we've seen it all this series. The rebound on control. Skinner gets a little contact with Kapanen as he's going down, can't reach it. But Chris, the strength of the Edmonton Oilers last year in this playoff run was taking away all the shooting lanes, taking away the passing lanes with good sticks.
Activated. Here's Skinner trying to come off the boards. Played. Now Frederick had it knocked away, and Verhaeghe comes back into the shift as it's ruled down by Reinhart. Final minute. Opening period. Chance. Scores! Florida.
Oh, an absolute killer after a great shift by the third line. Got some offensive zone time, got a little bit of pressure. About 35, 40 seconds, and now really a one-on-two, but the hard pressure there, lost control of the puck. And that one battle opens up the front. Verhaeghe gets in, gets hard there. Oh, a stick to the face of Stetcher. There's a shot on that. Look at the reaction of Stetcher right here. Stick, bang, right on the visor. Now, no call made. Great pass by Verhaeghe and a wide open net there for Reinhart. But Chris, the penalty issues again, and then there's a missed call that really should have ended that play.
Sixth of the postseason for Anton Lundell. And his first of the Stanley Cup Finals. Bedlam here at Emirates Bank. Verhaeghe the lone assist. And offside called at the Panther line. In the late stages here of the first period, bounce down. Schmidt forechecking his Brown. Kulikov off the official. Gadgevich a clear. And the period is done. And damage done by Matthew Tkachuk. A pair of power play goals. And then a last-minute marker by Anton Lundell.
It is a change in net. Calvin Pickard is in to replace Stuart Skinner. Head coach Chris Knoblauch saying he's comfortable, confident, despite the fact Stuart Skinner made a lot of big saves. This was a place Craig and Chris had a famous after-game speech on the part of Connor McDavid. Leon Draisaitl addressed the team, and Stuart Skinner spoke of that after Game 3, saying we have to be calm, we have to be confident. Who knows what was said during this most recent intermission to try and continue that theme moving forward.
14 saves, Gene, for Stuart Skinner in the opening period, and not enough to see the second. Ekblad, Barkov inside the line and flipped back away. And maybe a break here. Skinner's in. Jeff Skinner to the net. And a rebound chance. And it won't go. Couple of close calls there, but he couldn't tuck it past Bobrovsky.
Well, he went 2 or 3 attempts. The net's off in the Edmonton net, or Edmonton end rather.
That's a jostling there between Marchand and Nugent Hopkins.
Marchand was talking to him the entire pre-drop of the puck.
Kulak sending it into the glove of Bobrovsky. But Colson unable to control. Wallman and Bouchard up at center. Perry. A little bump pass near Bouchard. Bouchard set it high. What a chance for Evan Bouchard, and here comes a penalty against Florida. So the Oilers' power play has scored in 8 consecutive games. They're 3 for 16 in the series and win the opening face-off here with the man advantage. Draisaitl bumps it low for Perry, the Stanley Cup playoff leader in power play goals with 5. Connor McDavid, Draisaitl flips across, Nugent Hopkins, and is it in? Yes, and the Oilers are on the board. Up high, Nugent Hopkins gets Edmonton on the board.
Just a great job of using the lanes and attacking the front of the net. You know you always have the threat with the Draisaitl one-timer, so just freezes Ekblad for a second. As soon as Ekblad goes down, that opens up the passing lane. Watch the sticks to the inside. Draisaitl reads it perfectly right between 2 and then right up under the bar. Just a perfect shot by Nugent Hopkins. But they attacked the net, anticipated that play across, and boy, that's building changes pretty dramatically. That's what we're saying, the importance of that next goal, and it's Edmonton's power play.
There's Kulak as Nugent Hopkins comes back on, and Connor Brown back on the right flank with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. McDavid back to the line for Bouchard. Here comes the shot, and it got through a screen and hit Bobrovsky. Nugent Hopkins. McDavid over the line. Slowed up and follows up with Connor Brown. Unable to get it through. Recovered by Nugent Hopkins. Across for Kulak. His shot's hit to Bobrovsky. Able to play the deflection and kick it out.
Well, that was not an easy save there for Bobrovsky. Great tip in that high area. One hopper that he was able to stay true to and get a pad on.
Here comes Bouchard. Swinging into the zone, knocked off his stick and dumped back out. Wallman back in his own zone. Listerinen out there on the forecheck as Wallman plays it for Draisaitl. Into the middle. You can see that the Oilers looking a little more confident now after the goal by Nugent Hopkins. But back by Reinhart. So fresh penalty killers on for Florida. Here comes McDavid, trying to go coast to coast, turns it back. And now Draisaitl hands it off. McDavid from the corner. Evan Bouchard, midpoint. No shot yet. McDavid down low. There's Draisaitl. Short side, stopped by Bobrovsky. Off Draisaitl. And McDavid wins it cleanly. Evan Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins, Connor McDavid. Perry parked in front. Here's Bouchard giving it back. McDavid. Draisaitl That blocked by Forsling and cleared by Ekblad. Three shots on the power play. Final 10 seconds of the man advantage. Bouchard fires it in. Keane after the recovery. Evander Keane back to the line for Woolman. And across a one-timer. Ekholm glanced off the glove of Bobrovsky. In behind the net, Henrique. 4 shots on the power play, but Kulikov has returned to the ice. And the Oilers 1 for 2 on the power play here in Game 4. There's Mikkola ahead. From the red line, fires it in. Reinhart will let it go. Barkov on it. Rodriguez lost it. And Keane starts back. Rick wide, it goes to Skinner. Working against Kulikov. And Skinner heads off on a change. Up to Reinhart. Unable to redirect that to Rodriguez. Here's Darnell Nurse. Nurse will scoop it in from center ice. Mikkola playing it off the glass. Nurse flips it down. Great play by Nurse and a shot. Hagee over the line, rolling it through out of the reach of Bennett. Played around to the near side and flipped away to center. And Mikkola back in his own zone. Seth Jones working it back in, and he handed it right to Perry, who got crossed up with Nurse. Bennett back to Chuck, and Pickard with the stop. It'll bring that back in. A little chaos on either side of that shift. Brown tied up, and Marchand will flip it back out to center. And Jake Walman turning it over. A chance, and Pickard with an important stop there. Walman with the reverse hit, and now Keane is away. Keane taken down. Strong play by Seth Jones. Matthew Tkachuk for Jones. Puck out at center, and Kapanen will play it right back into Florida territory. On the forecheck is Janmark. Around it goes Rodriguez. Here's Evan Rodriguez down the right side. Sliding it through to Bennett. Pumping with Kapanen. Rodriguez follows to Tkachuk. Back to the line, Smith and Kulikov. And that'll be held by Pickard. For Bill Zito in Florida, but a 2-on-1 here, and Skinner tied up. Unable to get that through to Adam Henrique heading to the net. Darnell Nurse with it. Put it in front on Nate Smith. Skinner still tied up. Bump on Frederick. Up with the puck is Edmonton. Ekholm. Nurse shooting. Scores! Darnell Nurse up high. And it's a 1-goal game.
Chris, we were talking in the first period how important it's going to be. As you can see back in Edmonton, they're on their feet for the bottom 6 to get involved. For the second, third, fourth lines get a chance. And here's just a hard-work, loose puck battle. 4 against 4 in the corner. The Oilers pick it up and then just sliding down and right off. I don't know if it hit Gadjevich or not, but there's one for Sergei Bobrovsky. Watch how early Bobrovsky is down, and it's right over the shoulder, kind of similar to Nugent Hopkins. Kulikov, Skinner. There's another shift where Skinner getting his 3rd chance, a little pat on the back, and man, is this game completely changed.
Darnell Nurse with his 3rd of the playoffs, scored in Game 4 and Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final a year ago. That one flipped over the glass. Is that going to be puck over glass and a penalty? Looks like it is, and wins the faceoff. Bouchard for Nugent Hopkins, who has a power play goal. Fired that across out of the reach of McDavid. Perry behind the net. Trying to keep it alive for the Oilers. McDavid lays it back for Bouchard. Now around for Perry. With some room is Connor McDavid. Ryan Nugent Hopkins trying to flip it through with Perry parked in front. McDavid off the board. Nugent Hopkins across, and Draisaitl unable to get that shot off. Nugent Hopkins to Bouchard. McDavid. Perry parked on the doorstep. Evan Bouchard to the captain. Bouchard again. Bouchard winds up and fires that blast wide. McDavid, watch Willis to read it center. Oh, Bobrovsky, big stop off Draisaitl. Back to Bouchard again. Nugent-Hopkins to Bouchard, shooting, deflected in front. And Bobrovsky able to get a piece of that. Oilers coming close. Maintain possession. Draisaitl, McDavid, Evan Bouchard, Nugent-Hopkins. Perry flipped it in front. They don't get it clear. Here's McDavid, a backhand, and it went off a body wide. And now shoveled to the line and out. Under a half minute remaining in the Barkov penalty, and McDavid is back in. Connor McDavid! Oh, what a save! Bobrovsky, a right hand save, and the biggest one of the night.
You ever get tired of saying, can you believe that? I mean, another example. This is one of those pure examples where everything in the offensive zone now, speed through the neutral zone, put the puck to an area, Ekblad's down, and Bobrovsky on the doorstep, able to get that right pad down, somehow not allow it to slide through, and then on the doorstep was Nugent-Hopkins, went after that rebound, and Bobrovsky able to hold on.
Boy, what a confrontation that is. The best in the business against one of the best goaltenders in Stanley Cup playoff action. Late stages of the power play. Wollman, King, down low, Skinner pivots and fires high. And it out of play as the penalty comes to an end. Barkov out of the box. And now Nate Schmidt steps up. Red line and in for Florida. Under 4.5 to go here in the second period. A loose puck in front. Pickard with the stop on the deflection there by Rodriguez in front. Played deep by the Oilers, and Rodriguez back in his own zone. Out come the Panthers. Up past Bennett, and that will slide for an icing call. Kept in at the line by Kulak. He works down the boards. Played past him, and out come the Panthers. Marchand with Jones driving the lane. And Marchand's shot blocked by Nurse. What a night for Darnell Nurse with a goal and an assist in this period. Draisaitl back to work. Luostarinen in his own zone. Seth Jones banks that ahead. Nurse has trouble with the bouncing puck, but able to get it to Draisaitl. Corey Perry back, and now a hit for Skinner. Looks rink wide for Perry. Back around for Nurse. A hit to Skinner to make sure that gets deep. Bobrovsky out to play that. And incoming is Trent Frederick. Gets past them, and Sam Bennett's away. Here's Bennett in the middle. Ekholm trying to knock that back out. Pickard will play it away, and Bouchard, that's broken up by Bennett. He'll fire that through traffic. And now Bouchard lights it out. Here's Bouchard, great pass. Henrique in, and Rodriguez knocked that off his stick. It comes loose for Frederick in front. And that hot pass, fighting for it, got a stick on it. Picked up by Forsling, knocked down in front. McDavid away. Up ahead, Draisaitl. He's got a step and a cross, and it doesn't reach Connor Brown, and knocked away by Florida. Now charging after it for Hagee. Now they need a kill. 2 for 3. Panthers and a shot by Tkachuk. Pickard gets a piece up. Both power play goals by Tkachuk. 1-5-on-3. Jones off the boards, back for Reinhart. Matthew Tkachuk from the corner. Unable to get that pass through. Broken up by Wollman. Now it's back to the line for Jones. Tkachuk off the boards. Across, and Parker came across to make the save off Ekblad. Tkachuk again, but play stopped.
Well, how about Calvin Pickard? He's made some beauties here. When his team has come back and made this a game, watch the lift of the stick there. Takes away one scoring chance in the middle of the ice, but creates the other. Reinhart can't get to it, but Ekblad coming down and just a slide across. Great save by Calvin Pickard.
Through two, and what a period number 2 it was for the Oilers.
This most important penalty kill.
So here we go, third period. Draisaitl in the box. Just under a minute and a half of penalty kill time to start the third. Florida 2 for 3, and that man has both. Matthew Tkachuk in behind the net. Try to feed it back towards him. It's Barkov along the boards. McDavid all over him. Tkachuk. Ekblad. Back to Tkachuk and Seth Jones. Here's Ekblad's shot, and that's off the stick to McDavid. Jones. Into the middle, Reinhart. Back to Jones. And Ekblad. Seam pass across. And here's Reinhart. Tried to make a move. Lost it. And now McDavid after it. Kept alive by Ekblad. Florida maintains possession. Feeds back. Here's a tendon throw. Big right hand stop by Pickard on the redirect. Barkov back to the line. Here's Ekblad downhill, blocked by Ekholm, and cleared. Another huge stop for Calvin Pickard.
And another lane that just was left wide open for that cross-seam pass, and just a brilliant save there by Pickard.
Lead feed for Marchand, just out of his reach. Bennett joins. It'll come back to Forsling. Sam Bennett, late in this power play. A shot knocked down for Hickey. Weak backhand wide. Marchand lost it behind the net. Back on the ice is Draisaitl. Bennett gets it to Marchand, trying to cycle it through. Reaching for Hagee. Tied up by Nurse. Here's Marchand once again. Looking to center. Knocked away by Janhart. Kept in by Forsling. Bennett after it behind the net. It'll slide through to Verhaeghe. He'll play it back outside the line. And they'll have to re-rack out at center. Sent in with both teams changing, and Kulak playing it for Nurse. So now Florida 2 for 4. On the power play in the game, Listorina through in front. Pickard again kicks that away. It's still loose in the blue paint and knocked away. The Oilers send it to the line and out. Played back in on the delayed offside as Pickard sends it around for Bouchard. Up ahead, it's Henrique at the Florida line. Forsling off the boards and back out. Evan Bouchard with the Panthers changing that pass. Hit Nosek. Gadgeric sends it in. There's Jonah Gadgeric going after it. Around it comes to A.J. Greer. Greer along the boards. Perry joins in. And now it's loose for Nosek. At the line, Forsling. And across Ekblad, shots, and then deflects wide. Fourth line for Florida, trying to apply pressure. Forsling across, Ekblad again. Turned back there by Podkolzin. Forsling through, touched up, the Nosek shot, blocked by Woolman, and the Oilers clear. So no breakthrough for Florida on the power play, but a little momentum. But Florida's on it, and they're away. And Carter Verhaeghe after it as he went around. Bouchard. Here's Tkachuk stepping up. Across, Forsling, and he sent down a foot wide. And flat around behind the net. It reaches Tkachuk again. He's got Forsling off the stick, and Calvin Pickard as the number 6 defenseman for the Panthers. Here's Kulikov ahead, and Sam Bennett to work. He's been heroic throughout these playoffs. Sent into the corner. Tkachuk on it. Tried the reverse hit on Nurse. Draisaitl trying to come up with it. Comes to the front of the net. Knocked away by Pickard. Tkachuk hit the side of the net. Bennett's got it. Here's Bennett back to the line. Mikkola. Shot through behind the net. Tkachuk. Trying to tuck that in front. Nurse tied up, and Draisaitl helps out, and it's moved ahead from Kulak. Up on Keane, bouncing down. They've got a tripping penalty coming up.
His legs have enjoying this game in a big way.
1 for 3, 10 shots
Panthers penalty to
on
number
the
9.
power play so far in the game. They start with a face-off win. David can't get that to Corey Perry. McGlad tied up by Perry. McDavid in there too. Trying to work it loose. Long board battle. Draisaitl into the fray now. And Florida merges with the puck. Forsling bounced to the line. Kept in by Bouchard. McDavid took a jolt there, but got it back to Draisaitl, covering the point. Bouchard around and back. Off a stick, but Draisaitl has it. Flipped it into the corner. Perry back around. Nugent-Hopkins can't reach it. And all the way back into the Oilers' zone.
One thing Florida stayed consistent with is their penalty kill will continue to be aggressive. All four guys trying to work in unison to pressure every puck movement.
And they come with Perry. Off to Draisaitl. Hands it off for McDavid, back to Bouchard. Evan Bouchard to Connor McDavid. Bouchard, good stick by Luskirinen. Back to McDavid, a little room, right down the middle. Fires right on, rebound, big stop for Bobrovsky. Perry on the doorstep. McDavid again. Nugent-Hopkins, and that jumps McDavid's stick all the way back into the Oilers' zone. Under a half minute remaining in the power play. Back in they come. Keane looks across, and that's off a stick. Chasing after it against Kulak. Draisaitl there and support defensively with an outlet, but pulls it ahead. There's Perry looking across, and Mikola worked that up. Rodriguez with a quick turn. Worked in, but then the pass picked off by Perry. Here comes Corey Perry with a pull-foot. Right hand stop to the rebound. Bouncing to Kulak. Darnell Nurse fires it. And Bobrovsky's got that. Swipe with that. Stopped by Bobrovsky. And now upended behind the net was Reinhart. Puck up against the back of the net for a moment. Reinhart an outlet. Barkov check. Turned over. Here's a chance. Hits. Scores! Jake Woman! Another Oiler blue liner with a goal, and the Oilers have their first lead of Game 4.
But it's the dogged forecheck that makes this possible. We had some end-to-end action. Now you get a little bit of a hem in the zone. One bad pass. You got Barkov who can't control it. And how about this play to the outside? I think Bobrovsky's thinking the shot's coming from middle. Kapanen takes his time, slides it across, and an absolute bomb up and over the arm. We've seen Bobrovsky make 4 saves down low with that pad. Instead, it's Wollman gets it up high enough over the glove. And you want to see a reaction. Down 3-0 on the road in Game 4. 6:24 to go. Oilers up 4-3.
4 straight goals. Wollman with a 90.7 mile-an-hour blast. Florida scored the first 3. Oilers have answered with 4 straight. They've got another chance. Here's Kapanen from the corner, turning back. Trying to spin off the checking of Kulikov. Lost the puck. And
got to try to chip some pucks out and keep it in the offensive zone.
Oilers control the draw. Kulak ahead. Sends it in from center ice. Evander Kane goes after it and slipped past him. Now Kulikov leads Florida through center. Nate Schmidt with a step into the zone. Put it out in front. Knocked away there by Draisaitl, and he heads back into Florida territory. A move. He's in. Draisaitl stopped by Bobrovsky. Clutch stop to keep Florida a shot away. Excuse me, Bobrovsky is heading to the Florida bench.
Now, I'd be interested here. It's not really a tired group for the Edmonton Oilers. They're in that 30-second range. Lots of time, and it's not necessarily a bad matchup. I wouldn't be surprised, or I am surprised that maybe Paul Maurice doesn't take his time.
So 2:26 remaining, 6 on 5. Barkov, Ekblad, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, and Jones as that shot missed the target. Wrapped around behind the net, swung around, and Ekblad couldn't knock that down. It comes out to center. Flipped back in by Ekblad. Bluffed down there by Bouchard. Unable to get it past Bennett. Around for Adam Henrique. He's hit by Ekblad. Fed back to the line, Jones. Barkov sends it off the inboard. Tkachuk got it to Bennett. Back to Barkov and across. Sam Reinhart's got it. In, Ekblad shot it wide.
Paul Maurice, just everybody catch their breath and try that all over again.
Oilers trying to hold on for the split that Connor McDavid said they came to Florida to get. Mark Stewart going over defensive responsibilities at the Edmonton bench.
Well, now you watch the battles for the front of the net. You've seen that the whistles kind of get taken away at this time, and you know for Edmonton, got to do whatever you can to allow your goaltender to see, and it'll be the battles out of the corner on those loose pucks. Can you win it? Can you clear it and alleviate the pressure and let that time, which is the enemy of Florida, keep on ticking?
Had to wait an extra day for this one. Game 5 is Saturday at Rogers Place. A lot of work to be done here yet. As the puck face-off's won, it's hit down the ice, but bounces well wide, and they'll face it off once again in the Oilers zone. And there's a clean win for Draisaitl, down 15-14. That puck bouncing down, and no icing on the play as Jones goes back to get it. Tkachuk sent it in. He didn't get to the red line. That's icing against Florida.
This is Bobrovsky back in, and another big draw for Draisaitl if you can control it.
Draisaitl, McDavid on. Draisaitl went right to the goaltender. We're into the final minute. Once a 3-0 Florida lead, and now the Panthers looking for an equalizer here in the final minute of regulation time. That one played high over Barkov and back inside the Florida line. Bobrovsky still in the net. Off the skeet to Barkov. And now Bobrovsky heads off. The net empties as it's played ahead out of the reach of Janmark, and Jones has it at the Florida line. Tkachuk this time over the red line, sends it in. Kulak try to work it up the boards. Knocked down by Verhaeghe. Here's a chance. Bennett in front. Tkachuk! And Reinhart scores! With 19.5 remaining in the third period.
Oh, what a crazy game this is. Bennett with the pass across, and it's Reinhart who defers instead of shooting where he had a great chance. He tries to go back to Tkachuk. A bouncing puck rattles right back into his wheelhouse. Pickard's off balance, can't get back, and after the Oilers scored with 18 seconds in Edmonton to tie a game up. Here it is, as you said, just a little bit more, 19.5. Chris, it's the battles along the boards. The Oilers lost the battle in the corner to get the puck clear, and it ends up in the back of their net.
So Reinhart scores in back-to-back games after being quiet early in the series. Not quite as late as the Corey Perry tying goal in Game 2, but it got the job done. And now flipped inside the Florida line, and for the third time in 4 games in the Stanley Cup Final, we are headed to overtime.
Well, how about for Reinhart? He had a slow time putting the puck in the net. He scored in Game 3, and no bigger one than this one right now. It just comes right back to him when he dished back off to Tkachuk. A bouncing puck gets control. Pickard oh so close, but can't get the right pad. And this place that had been nervous this entire period erupts as we're headed to overtime.
Back at Emirates Bank Arena, and history to be made tonight, the 100th overtime game in Stanley Cup final history, and the next goal so pivotal in how this series is going to be decided.
Boy, is it ever. You know, the opportunity to get the split on the road for the Edmonton Oilers, the heartbreak of giving up the late goal. Well, they lived it in Edmonton, as we cataloged there, with the late goal by Perry and then the heartbreak later on. So, man, Game 4, Stanley Cup final, hasn't disappointed.
Marchand has both overtime winners for Florida this year. Oilers 4-1. The loss in Game 2 was the first time in the history of the Oilers that they'd lost an overtime game in the Stanley Cup final. How's this going to end? Draisaitl up against Lundell to start overtime here in Game 4. Florida with possession, and Marchand sends it in deep. Pickard hands it off, and Kulak on the backhand around. Perry knocked down. Listerine after it. The 27th battling for the puck, and it's Kulak playing it to the near side. Darnell Nurse, who has scored, lofts that down. It went past Mikkola. They're going to call that icing. So it sets up a Bennett offensive zone face-off against Draisaitl, and he won it, but he'll split his defenseman and pull it back into his own zone. Forsling. And now Rodriguez trying to get away. Connor Brown stuffs him inside the line, and the puck comes out. Darnell Nurse sends it in. Connor McDavid's on the ice. It got past him, but Nugent Hopkins puts it high into that corner for 97. Back to the line. Bouchard with a quick shot that goes across the goal mouth. And here's Matthew Tkachuk. Nugent Hopkins gets back to knock it off his stick past Brown, and that's icing.
Could be the difference maker.
Oilers a slight edge so far tonight, but that one won, and a blast by Forsling. Didn't miss by much. Wow. Here's Reinhart, 3 points in the game. Twisting, turning back and boom. Ekblad's shot hit the traffic en route as Ekblad was tied up with Barkov. Bouchard, who leads the Oilers in ice time, up over 27 minutes now, and Ekblad back in his own zone. Aaron Ekblad on to the right side past Reinhart, and that's icing Florida. Last final to have 3 overtimes in the first 4 games of 2013. In front of the net, Bobrovsky down, it's behind him, still loose. Bobrovsky's lost his stick, and he's going to sit on the puck. Unbelievable that didn't find its way over the line.
How about off the face-off? The stick of Henrique just explodes, so he can't really do anything. But the drive to the net afterwards, Trent Frederic trying to get Jeff Skinner. Watch Bobrovsky slide across here. Skinner gets one whack at him. Frederic gets another. Puck is gone for a split second, and then bang on the doorstep off the toe. Frederic can't get a piece of it. Almost kicked it in. Went off the post and then back out the other side. Somehow another chance by Frederic, and the toe save.
Marchand up the boards. Doesn't clear. Kept in by Henrique, and now off. Marchand and out. The Blackhawks and Bruins had overtime in 3 of the first 4 back in 2013. This the 5th time it's happened in Stanley Cup final history. Darnell Nurse. Up off Keane. Listerine back. Up ahead, Marchand to work. The overtime hero with Game 2 across. A.J. Greer getting a shift here in overtime. Paul Maurice trying to use his depth to advantage. Now Bouchard flips it away. Trying to spring Kapanen at the Florida line. That's broken up, and now Greer working his way into the zone. Pass Greer, Keane. Greer takes it away, bumped in front, and that pass intended for Nosek. Didn't reach the target. Looking at the replay again, there's a couple of taps with the skate. The second one didn't look like a kicking motion, so one way or another, that would have counted, you would think. but they tell me it has to cross the line, so we play on. Forsling off Rodriguez into the Oilers zone. Wallman up ahead. Now it's Podkolzin flipping it in, and here's Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl trying to cut to the net. Swings around, trying to cycle it back, but taken away by Verhaeghe. 13-game winner for Verhaeghe, and ahead comes Forsling. Over the line, Draisaitl breaks that up. There may be a break here. Corey Perry couldn't reach it. He was in behind everybody and gets taken out by Forsling. Forsling back the other way, and he missed Verhaeghe with the pass, and that's an icing. McDavid wins the draw against Reinhart. Here's a Wallman blast. Off the end boards, it ricocheted, and Nugent-Hopkins on it. That gets past Brown. Wallman on the other side on his backhand. McDavid off the boards. Try to hook it in front. And that was knocked down by Reinhart. Ahead it goes. Here comes Florida. Verhaeghe's pass. And Bouchard got a stick on that. And then intercepts a second pass and flips it away. McDavid trying to charge in. And Nugent-Hopkins followed with the play offside. On against the Lundell line. Nurse puts it into the zone. Schmidt for Luostarinen. Batted by Skinner back in deep. There's Frederick with a big hit. Henrique follows up. Luostarinen able to clear right down on Pickard. Nurse with a long survey and drawing the displeasure of the fans here as he stretches it out off Henrique. Bobrovsky sends it around to Luostarinen. Up at center ice it goes. Lundell with a slick pass over the line. A Schmidt shot that doesn't get to the net. Seth Jones back. Leads the Panthers in ice time of the game. Pickard out to play that.
Nurse had two chances there to get a change and just a little bit delayed. Gets stuck out there. Luckily a good chip there by Kapanen to make sure get fresh truth.
And in the long change, it was a 3-goal advantage for Florida until the second period tonight. There's another icing call.
What game was it where they said 11 icings in the period?
Yeah.
It was like this kind of game is coach's nightmare because you don't take for granted the danger of having a bad icing with a bad matchup or maybe a tired group. And that's why you love the rules so much. The team that didn't do the icing gets an opportunity to take advantage of it here, and that's what the Oilers trying to do right now.
Gadjevich is on the ice for Florida. He's under 6 minutes in the game. Draisaitl with a face-off win. Ekholm puts it on goal. Rebound towards Gadjevich. He's able to backhand it away. And now to the attack comes Luostarinen. Luostarinen trying to barge in. Taking a turn with no set. Luostarinen trying to come out of the corner and taken away by Bouchard. 6 minutes into overtime. David back on. Reinhart's on the ice with 3 points. Draisaitl trying to get it to McDavid. There's Reinhart dropping it in. Pickard out to play it around. Past the ear of Reinhart. Glove down here. And controlled by Ekholm. Let's see as Ekholm with a long lead feed. Cut by Forsling. Reinhart back in. Here's Sam Reinhart who had the game winner in Game 7 in this building last year. And off the boards, it's Sam Bennett off the post. Sam Bennett off the bar. Some fans there thought it was in, but the referee on the scene waves it. And here's Draisaitl with McDavid in front, and it bounced over his stick. In behind the net it goes. Corey Perry's got it. Trying to get it back to Draisaitl. And Tkachuk's got that.
Oh, man. Almost one end and then finished it on both ends.
Sent in by Rodriguez. Florida changing. Up ahead it goes. Connor Brown. And on the move, Podkolzin couldn't take it cleanly. Lundell comes back. Kulikov ahead for Lundell. Nugent Hopkins there. Centering Brown and Pop Olsen. After that shift by McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry. Kulak fencing for it, trying to get it out. Marchand holds it in. Maybe it's in. Oh, Pickard got an arm on that. What a stop by Calvin Pickard off Luostarinen. Here's Marchand, still with it, centering it. Oilers get on it, and they'll get it out, and Connor Brown will flip it in. Trying to charge after it. Ekblad got there first. Oilers get a change. And Nosek overskated it, but following up, Marchand still out there. Long shift as he goes wide and puts it on goal. And Pickard will cover. Adam Henrique on the draw, but Nosek wins it for Florida. That shot broken up by Ekholm. Dumped into the corner by Gadjevich. Again, fourth line shift for Paul Maurice. And Ekholm had a stick on it, not cleared. After it goes Greer. Around it goes, and Kulikov can't hold the zone. A.J. Greers from Joliet, Quebec was telling their French conference today is here they come, another chance, and that's blocked by Roman. Said he was inspired by the 2-goal performance to win a cup by Max Talbot with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And now on the ice trying to become an overtime hero here tonight. Barkov, maybe a chance. Barkov can't bust through. Roman recovered along with Janmark. Evander Kane rink wide, flips it down to Mikkola, deep in the Florida zone. That one knocked down there by Kane, but the Panthers able to send it back inside the Edmonton line. Nurse back for Kulak. We're approaching 10 minutes of overtime. The whistle after 10 minutes will trigger a shovel here on the ice surface here in Florida. Hagee sends it in. Bounced past Pickard. Nurse with him. Around the boards, kept in by Ekblad. Ekblad fires it across. Forsling steps up. That's kicked away by Pickard. Ekblad fires it. Drifted that wide. Forsling back in. Florida getting a change, getting fresh men on the ice. But Nurse up with a puck. Can he get it out? He does. Laid back in by Ekblad. Around Nurse. Swats at that. Off Janmark. Not out. Fronted by Nurse. He'll clear. Brown trying to catch up to that. And Forsling gets there first. Oilers changing as Kulak back. And the fans appreciate what they've seen. What a treat Game 4 has been. And here they come again. Over the line. It's Luostarinen. A pad stop there by Pickard. Now up ahead it's Bud Colson. On the move, Brown. Can't get the shot off. Bud Colson follows. Far side, Bouchard advances. And now following up is McDavid. Trying to get loose. Luostarinen with the clear. Evan Bouchard back in his own zone now with Ekholm. But Colson, nice pass across. Here's Draisaitl. Here's Nurse scores! Leon Draisaitl's won it in Game 4 for the Oilers, and the series is tied at 2.
Oh, man.
What a night this has been. The ups, the downs, the raw emotions. And in the end, Chris, this is a one-hand pass attempt by Draisaitl that goes off Mikkola and finds its way through Bobrovsky. How about this? The end of a long shift, a chip into the middle. Draisaitl driving to the net, one hand on his stick right off the pad. And you know Bobrovsky, we've seen him go side to side so effectively. Corey Perry, this is about a 6-second shift that ends up with probably the biggest goal. He's had so many, but the biggest goal of his Oiler career, tying this series at 2. An improbable 3-0 deficit. erased there, and a 5-4 win for Edmonton in Game 4.
His 4th overtime goal of this playoff, which is a Stanley Cup playoff record. The Oilers came for a split, and they get it.
Boy, the emotions of playoff hockey in one game. Unbelievable. What an ending.
An unforgettable night. A 5-4 Oiler win. Pickard with 22 stops in the win.